Sloan Rachmuth. Is this a sleeper issue, the parental rights movement, or is this an issue that has the nation on fire? From Dearborn, Michigan, to Loudoun County, Commonwealth of Virginia, to Texas, Florida, Arizona. It's Carrie Lake's one of her biggest issues, right? It's Tudor Dixon in Michigan, one of her biggest issues. This is on fire. This is how the inside the Beltway in D.C. doesn't understand what's happening in the country. And if you want to think about that, go look at the dads, the 500 Muslim fathers in Dearborn, Michigan the other day saying, hey, this is not going to happen on our watch. No way, no how. Sloan Rachmuth from North Carolina. And here, North Carolina and people, you know, a great southern state, North Carolina may be the most radical of them all. Sloan Rachmuth.
Indeed it is. I mean, look, this isn't only arguing against the common sense of the electorate. People, candidates who do not go out there and articulate the necessity of parental rights, what they're doing is they're betting against human nature. We have one side that wants to sacrifice children. We have the other side that wants to protect the specialness, the God-given rights of parents and their children, and have that boundary from the family to the government. I mean, this is just human nature. Look, we know that the Democrats, by and large, are loud and proud on this. They want to rip children from the arms of their mothers at age of 3 with this universal pre-K. They want to medicate these children, sexualize these children, and indoctrinate them from cradle to grave. Republicans who are out there on the campaign trail and who are kind of sitting on the sidelines with regards to bringing this issue up, they're really missing the boat, because as you just said, this is human nature. And we know that the left is so crazy right now. They're so loud and proud with this that human nature is going to kick in with all of these moms, all of these people, and they're going to come in and protect the children.
Okay, tell us, you've read the Hill article. How did they miss us so badly saying this is a sleeper issue? You're in contact with all the Moms for Liberty, Moms for America, yet all these parental rights groups are on fire. How could a major political newspaper talking about the most important midterm election since the Civil War, how could they sit there and go, it's a sleeper issue? Is it a sleeper issue on anywhere you go or anybody you talk to, ma'am?
I think it's willing and willful ignorance, actually. I think it's a being very disingenuous. I think everyone knows what a big issue this is. Look, what's going on in these schools with the sexualization of children in particular, it's one of the universal things, right? I mean, people just know that it's evil and wrong. One side's willing to tolerate it. The other side is willing to not tolerate it. And that is the side that's going to win. So
Sloan, whoa. Not one side's not tolerating it. They're pushing it. This is why it's providential that they stole it in 2020. Because once you saw they're in power, they're in your grill. This is the groomer party. They're not shy about this. They're not tolerating it. They're pushing it hard. It's at the top of their agenda. In fact, it's embedded everywhere into the middle of their ideology. Am I missing that?
No, I mean, they're absolutely pushing it. But here's the thing, Steve. They're allowing, the left, they're allowing these lunatic fringe folks to completely represent them. Look, I don't believe that all Democrats believe in this stuff, what's going on. I don't even believe that most do. But here's the difference. They are tolerating,
any Democrat, Emmy, I got to disagree. I don't think it's fringe. At first, I thought, that's why I'm saying this is providential. You got to hear me out. Because I think people thought on the margins they had the stuff. No, this is what's happened with this drag queen stuff, what's happened in the schools, what's happened in the pornography in the books. And these librarians and school board, they're not backing down. You know this.
Yeah,
heck, what do you even tried to pass in North Carolina, not just the Republican establishment, but the Democrats. This is not tolerate. This is a central core element of their ideology. And this is why the big steal was so important. We now know that. And this is what's not negotiable, and there's no compromise. That you can't compromise on this. You can't negotiate on this. It's either one thing or the other. And that's why you have Muslim fathers up in Dearborn, Michigan. This is why you have African-American dads all throughout the country, right? This is what's unifying us because they're not tolerating it. This is the main battery. And you know this from Virginia. They're not backing off. I mean, Youngkin's passed these kind of executive orders, and they're saying, heck with that. Librarians are still doing it. School administrators are still doing it. The school boards won't back off. We just had the woman on the other day. The school board members basically laughed in her face. So this is not toleration. This is a central tenet to their core ideology, ma'am.
Right. Well, without a doubt, it's a major plank now in the Democrat Party, that's for sure. But we do see more so-called moderate Democrats here in the South, certainly here in North Carolina. Some are pastors, preachers, but here's the difference. They keep their mouth shut. They go along, they nod, etc. But let's take that to the average Democrat voter. This is key. So the leadership in the Democrats Party here, as you said, they're pushing this. But the rank and file Democrat, it's wrong. They know it's wrong, and we need to keep pushing this issue because we've got so many independents. In fact, in North Carolina, for instance, more independents are registered to vote than are Republicans or Democrats. So a lot of these folks have had enough, and they've had enough on this issue. This is a human nature issue. Human nature is going to kick in. We need to make sure that it kicks in as soon as the voter steps into that ballot box. We can't let it go.
Let me say this, the Hill newspaper, this is not a sleeper issue. This is one of the most significant issues of our time, right? Of our time. And this is on the ballot. And this is one of the reasons I'm saying you've seen this alignment. This is what you saw it in Youngkin in the Commonwealth of Virginia. These independent and moderate Democrat moms, as Sloan's talking about, if you mention Donald Trump, they will spit on the floor. And that's okay. Okay, that's okay. The MAGA vote comes out, they come out. It's a coalition, right? It's a coalition. And you're seeing this throughout the country. You're seeing it in Michigan. Tudor Dixon's going to ride the governorship of Michigan, in addition to inflation and Whitmore being out of control. This is what's happening in New York State. This is one of the reasons we're piercing the veil in these deep blue states. It's crime. It's this out of control nature. It's parents' rights, crime, and inflation in the economy. That's the trifecta, right?
Yeah.
You add the southern border. How do people get to you, Sloan? How do they get to you to find out? Because I'm telling you, in the great Tar Heel state of North Carolina, there's something rotten. You got a big problem. You got a problem with the Republican establishment, too gutless to stand up. And you got a super problem with all these, I don't want to say Yankees that came down there to the great state of Carolina, but let me say it, to these Yankees that came down there. So the great folks in South Carolina or North Carolina get on top of this. Where do they go, Sloan?
Well, first, I'd like to say we are here, Steve, because of the weakness of the Republican establishment that has had a stronghold at the General Assembly for the past 20 years. I cannot pin this radical move to the left over the last 20 years in our schools on anyone but on our own side. We have got to have a supermajority, and we've got to have absolute bedrock strong Republicans. So you can find us at edfirstnc.org. Go there. Sign in for our newsletter. We are having days of action. Our PAC, our only job is to put America First candidates on the ballot and get them to win up and down the ballot. We need volunteers. edfirstnc.org. Do it. Telegram channel. Please, please, please go to our Telegram channel, Education First Alliance. We are shadow banned still on Facebook, but we are on Facebook nevertheless. Please go. And it's important. Share our videos, because unless we keep all of these issues that Steve and I are talking about front and center, we're going to miss a huge opportunity to connect as humans to people across all party lines. That's what we need to do. We need to win. We need to win big.
Sloan, fantastic. Days of action. Make sure you go on. This is another website we're going to get up, put in the live chat. Everybody. Sloan, thank you so much for joining us today.